Paul and Deb Rees, experts in business, leadership and lifestyle. Skilling yourself to a successful you.
Boom, we're in and we're up and running, and wow, we didn't know who was starting the show then. I pointed at Deb, me or you, and she went, you.
Well, you always do your boom.
Pass the buck as usual. Absolutely. Well, it's great to be your listeners, and thank you for, again, your loyal listening year every single week, on the dot, on the nose, depending where you are, of course, which part of the world. And, you know, I was talking to someone yesterday, and they went to Iceland on holiday. Now here's the thing is that I'm very open to, you know, traveling and that, but I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. We're going to jump into what Iceland was in a second, you know. So I'm just going to make a little note to your listeners. There is Iceland. Iceland. You know, I see it so little, I don't even know how to spell it, and it's such an easy word to spell. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it is. It's like this little blob somewhere. Do you know what I mean? But here we are, listeners, and we got to.
I mean, just the name alone just makes me shiver.
The cold doesn't bother me anyway. But it's great to be here. Say we've got a great show ahead of us. It's me and Deb again today. Although I have got. Here's the thing, you know. It's odd. I reach out to guests and say to them, do you want to come on my radio show? Do you want to guest on my show? We've got this many million or thousands of listeners. I mean, the station has hundreds of thousands of listeners. Yeah. So you can get to promo your show, and it's like, I don't know if I can make it. It's like, what?
But a lot of people aren't like you, Paul. So you have this natural ability to do that, to speak, to show off.
Wait now. What I'm asking people is to just come and talk about what they already know.
Yes, and a lot of people
and that's themselves.
Yeah, but a lot of people can do that, but a lot of people can't. They just can't.
This is what I'm going to do. Use my email address, support@paulreesbusinesscoach.biz. The Rees is R-E-E-S. support@paulreesbusinesscoach.biz. If you want to guest on my radio show, you run a business, you have a life, not a story, you just have a life. Drop an email and title the email Radio Show Guest, and I will get you on ya. You can come on my show, you can guest on with me and Deb. You know, just come on. I don't care what you're selling. I don't care where you are in the world. We will figure it out and we'll do a show together. But I tell you what, I am if I'm truthfully, I'm a little bit tired of guests not turning up.
Aye.
I think, come on, guys.
But sometimes it's nerves, is what I'm trying to tell you.
No, sorry, don't agree to it in the first place. Then, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but they want to, but then the nerves get the better of them on the day.
Did you ever get turned down on a date? Did you ever go to a pub, sit there, and nobody turn up?
No.
Ah, there it is. You don't know what that feels like. I had that loads of times.
No, you didn't.
Oh, listen, I went on dates and people didn't turn up. Absolutely. Or I may have just been too drunk to see them.
Oh, that might happen.
No, but really, I know, I've had rejection. I know what it feels like, man. Don't reject it. If you're going to come on, listeners. But yeah, so that's my rant for today. Do you know what I mean? People who don't turn up. They say if you don't turn up in life, you don't get a bit of life. True. If you don't share in life, you don't get a share of life. You've got to turn up to be there. And that's the thing, listeners. Always follow through. Always follow through on your promise to yourself. Because if you can't keep your own promises to yourself, that's it. Life will think, well, we have to give this person lots of broken promises then. Because that's what you're doing, is breaking your own promise to yourself. So you become a broken life. The universe will give you what you want. Do you see that?
I get that as well.
Do you keep your promises?
Yes.
How do I know? Because you actually never promised me anything. Oh, you don't! You never say promise to anything, Deb.
No, do you know why?
Why?
Because...
You can't keep a promise?
No, because life happens, and how do you ever know?
I know, a promise is something that you commit to, and then you build your life around that promise.
Agreed. But also, sometimes you can be asked to promise something, or promise something, that you don't know what the outcome's going to be.
That totally doesn't make sense, girl. Sorry. That is just a massive lack of accountability.
No, it's not.
All due respect, wife. But, you know, here's the thing is that when you make a promise. And here's the thing, listeners,
Yeah,
think
but
about
when you
that.
make a promise and you stick to it, agreed.
Are you talking over me here on the radio show? Yeah, obviously I've hit the raw nerve here, have I? Is it because there's accountability in there? Is that what it is? That's one of your triggers, isn't it?
No.
Yes, it is one of your triggers. You say no, I know it is. I've been married to you all those years.
Oh, you don't even know.
But it truly is. And listen, accountability is not easy. I'm not saying it is, especially with the life you had. So I know accountability is not easy. But here's the thing. A promise is a soul thing.
I hear you. And
Character is a promise.
if you've made a promise, agreed.
Mm-hmm.
But you were talking about me never actually offering up a promise.
True.
Right.
True.
Okay.
You don't. I like that. Offering up. You never offer up a promise.
No, because I can see that like that sets people up to be disappointed.
How? How can it be disappointed if you said a promise? A promise means you're going to keep something.
Yeah, but a lot of people have to make promises because the other people expect that promise. That's not an authentic promise then, is it, in the first place?
Ah, girl, you have completely lost me here. That is such an emotional entanglement of barbed-wired words.
No, I think we're being a bit pointy on this show today. But I want to say to you is that why do I need to promise all the time?
Not all the time.
Because sometimes that can be, it's either you're promising or you're feeling controlled into a
No,
promise.
promise and a give of word is a show of character.
But a promise should have to come from the person itself. It shouldn't have to be made to promise something because that's not authentic.
Well, you know what? I only ask somebody to promise if you don't trust that person with the follow through. Yeah, we know where we are with that one, Deb. We know where we are with that one.
See, the thing is, I don't know how we've gotten onto this, but what I want to say, and Brenny doesn't agree either.
Yeah, our dog is barking in the background. There must be a postman coming. Our dog, our French bulldog has got to the point where, we live basically on a farm in the middle of nowhere. And he can hear an engine from 1,000 miles away. And he thinks every engine belongs to a postman or a delivery man. And for some reason, he's got this kind of phobia. He's got a postman, delivery man phobia. So every time something comes within the vicinity of 100 miles of our home, this dog just goes a bit scatty. Although, do you know what? He is a beautiful dog. He's really well-natured. I don't know, is he really? He's a French bulldog, and it's at the place where people sort of struggle to actually trust him. Maybe Brennan should be giving promises. I promise I won't take your hand off when you stroke me. Do you know what I mean? It is like that.
But
I get where you are. I get where you are.
That is the old story, though, isn't it? Like the dog and the postman's been going for blooming centuries.
What is it about dogs and cats and dogs and postmen?
No idea.
It could be a milkman. It's just because we live in the middle of nowhere, nobody else knocks our door. Bar for the wind. Regular, the wind up here is ferocious. It truly is.
I love it.
And I love that we started off that, because keeping your word and giving your word are shows of character, are shows of, endearment almost.
I totally agree with you. If you've made a promise, you should keep it.
Yes.
But if you've made a promise under duress, because somebody is making you promise, that's not an authentic promise. That's what I'm saying. And also, if somebody makes a promise and life happens, and because it does, and then you can't fulfill that promise. I'm not saying all of the promises. I'm saying just one or two or whatever. Then all of a sudden you look like you're not a person that keeps your word, and that's not fair. So I don't offer up the promise in the first place. Not because I'm not going to keep it, but because I don't know what's going to happen with life.
Okay, well, do you know what? I'll go with that. Not really, but I will. I'm with you, my wife. You could say anything you could get around me. It don't matter. So I'll go with this philosophy. I truly will. But let's move on. Do you know what I mean? Because come Sunday, I am off in my camper van for a week.
You certainly are.
I am. I'm going to pick up my e-bike, listeners. Going to pick up my e-bike. I got my new maps arrived today.
Yes.
So I went on a map reading course on the weekend. I mean, come on,
I
innit?
mean, can you imagine your 17-year-old self? If you were say go on a map reading course, what would he say?
I'd say, what? Does it come with knitting needles and pipe?
Where's the pub?
But yeah, I didn't. Do you know what? I mean, yeah, I'm 50. Maybe I'm in a middle-age crisis. I'm 54 and I need to get some map reading in. What is that about, isn't it?
I know, innit?
Oh, here I go, going to day out map reading, and we're all there with our maps, full kit, rucksacks, boots, and everything, you know.
Yeah, brilliant.
And one of the guys who was there, only we could describe him, he was off the Hovis advert.
Right.
You know, that's why he lived so long. I mean, he had this moustache that was curled at the end, you know, all yellow from nicotine in his rollies, dye cap, as they say, tall as a giraffe. But looked like something that just come out of the 40s.
Or Emmerdale Farm.
Or Emmerdale Farm. Yeah. He was a brilliant chap.
Yeah, bushy sideburns.
Oh, yeah, totally. He was a brilliant chap, you know.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But these guys, they know how to read a map. You put it in front of them and they come alive. Every time they said, right, align your map. And when you align your map, you have to have it facing the right way. No.
Oh.
You have to face in the right way to correspond with the features around you.
Oh, where you are, right.
Mine was upside down, wrong way round, and in the end, nobody would team up with me. Yeah, I started off this chap called Mark. He said, I'm not staying with him. He said, he just can't get his map the right way. I was like, oh, mate, give me a chance. Do you know what I mean? I'm here to learn. Because you already know to get the map the right way round it. I just couldn't get my head round it.
But you've always struggled with north, east, south and west, haven't you?
Well, never eat your shredded wheat.
Never eat shredded wheat.
On that one.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't put your head, you.
No,
Never
that's another
eat
why.
Oh,
isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah.
There's
Oh,
no
yeah,
why.
that's my maps. He's got why? Why don't you? My map is like, why are you looking at it? You don't know where you are. But it was brilliant, you know. We went a whole day out in the wilderness with our ruckies on and stuff and map reading. So today I took delivery of about 10 new maps.
I've just seen them. Yeah.
Although I've duplicated, sent some back. But these are OS maps. They're called OS maps.
Okay.
So you open them up and they show you all the details.
Is that outstanding maps?
No, it's called OS. I can't think of the word right.
Okay.
I haven't learned that bit.
Okay.
But I've got, and my waterproof map cases come. So all I'm waiting for is my new compass to come now, and then I'm going to be walking without my digital devices.
Ooh.
Actually, they'll be in my bag, switched off in case
Just
I
in
need
case.
them. Yeah.
Actually, Paul, with what you've just been saying, I would agree with you to do that. It's a good idea.
So that's what I am next
But you
week.
see, when I'm looking at all these maps, you know, I just see this need for you to get away. I see this need for freedom.
Well, listen, you know, I was thinking about it today when I was on a little wee-wee, you know, and I was thinking, you know, sometimes you sit in the toilet, you have a wee-wee, and it gives you time to think, or you think in the shower, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking today, it's right, Paul, you can't fit any more in. You go your walking, you go your biking, you know what I mean? I can't fit my drumming in the week.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, I need to put a schedule up on the cupboard of when I fit my drums in every day and things like that. But I'm
Oh
starting
my
to push.
God, you'll be going from noon till, well, not noon, dawn till dusk.
Yeah, I'm pushing too much in my life. I know I am.
I mean, next minute you're going to want to play darts, or you're going to
No!
want to... You want to keep chickens, for God's
Oh,
sake.
yeah, I don't want to keep chicken. We got the land. Listen, if you're going to live in the country, get a goat, get a donkey, get a horse, get chickens or ducks. You know,
ducks,
we got to do something. Otherwise, what's the point in all this acreage that we're sitting round?
True.
You know, but I also know that already you're cleaning up the dog poop and everything. So there's a lot to think about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was actually thinking about that today, thinking, okay, I'll put the chickens later on. Let me see how I get on first with my map reading and stuff. You know what I mean? All that kind of thing. But I'm building. You know, here's the thing. Make sure you got a lifestyle. Make sure you have something in there. Like you started painting. I mean, come on, Deb. Who would have thought there was a Tony Hart in there? Do you know what I mean? I'm your morph. I'm your little morph.
Oh, you totally are, with a bald head and
Yeah,
everything.
I come out to the box if you have to know
And you
what.
squeak.
Yeah. If you don't know what morph is, Google Tony Hart and watch some of the clips. Then you'll see Morphy comes out in a box.
He's a little plasticine box.
Yeah. I'm your Morph, and you're Tony. You're a Tony Hart-ette.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You're still doing amazing paintings, I don't know where that's come from. And of course, you're hiking, you got your poles and stuff, getting a little bit in there. It's all happening, do you know what I mean? Yeah. And it just proves also that, keep introducing into your life.
I just had this. Do you remember Rocky where he said, if I can change and you can change, we all can change? Like, I just had that in my head.
Who said that?
Rocky. Do you remember in the Rocky film?
No.
You don't remember that?
No, I don't remember that one. Did he actually say that?
Yeah, he's in Russia and he wins and it's like...
No. I remember going, Adrian! I remember that one.
That's the first one.
Oh, that's the only line I remember. Adrian! He was shouting.
Yeah, with his beat up face. No, yeah.
I don't remember anything else. It was just all lumps and bumps. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just brilliant. Yeah, sorry, because basically what we're saying here is that you can change. It's like I just said about your 17-year-old boy, would he want to be map reading and hiking and stuff? No. And my 17-year-old, would I want to be painting and walking?
Oh, God, no. You were Marlborough at 17, were you, girl? You were a Marlborough expert smoker.
Oh, yeah, gosh. Anything harsh was happening.
But it's... Is it that we change, we just evolve? And then, our mind is looking for greater experiences.
I think you're right. We evolve. We just evolve into these things, because when I was in my 20s, when I saw people in their 50s doing gardening, I'd be like, oh, God.
Hey, Gardener's World is prime time every Friday.
And we have to watch it.
I love it. I love Gardener's World. And here we are going to Sam and Betty's garden in Chiswick. And there they are, all the beautiful pots. I think, we could do that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, you in your 20s, you're not going to look at that and go, oh, I could do that.
No, not my 20s, man.
Right. So I think it's just a natural evolvement because, like I'm saying, if I saw people in their 50s and they are doing all the gardening and everything, I used to think, oh, God, there's more to life. What are you doing? I just used to think they've got no life.
If they're gardening.
Yeah.
What about painting then?
The same thing. I'd be like, oh,
have you
God.
spent you did a 3-hour stint this week painting?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just, listeners, that instead of cleaning the house, do you know what I mean? Instead of cleaning the house, you paint it. I mean, that's definitely promotion. But I'm proud of you. The paintings are beautiful.
Thank you.
And they'll be going on sale, listeners, in a couple of weeks. I'll be putting them out on Facebook.
They won't.
All the money will be going to charity. Called the Rees Residence. But it is. It's so important. I see it where people are evolving. Like when I'm with my clients, and I'm going to say Justin Thomas, an amazing. His company's called Sharp, SIARP. Sharp, and he's
that's a Welsh spelling.
Yeah, and he's an IT expert, but he's done so much work with himself. And he said, Paul, all I did was stop saying no and start saying yes to everything. And he said, I started saying yes to everything. He's Pilates, he's yoga now, and he's putting up amazing material on LinkedIn where people are commenting on. Just because he said, I just said yes to everything instead of no.
Yeah.
And he said, what I was saying no to was things that weren't growing me at all. And I said I was stuck in a rut.
Yeah.
And that's the secret, Be brave, follow through, say yes.
Absolutely, I agree. Because, for some weird reason, we all think we're going to be here, for a long time. We all think we're never leaving. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like if we got here, it was like, right, we're going to hit the ground blooming running because we've only got at most 100 years. That's the absolute outset, Gosh, it's not a lot. Somebody was saying...
Seems a lot.
But it's not. It's not. That's just 2 generations.
True, man.
Right? It can be 2 generations.
Yeah.
Especially nowadays where people are having babies later and everything. But anyway, it's
You've been coughing. I was listening to you coughing with clients this morning.
Told you I wasn't well.
Something's going on there. I thought you were putting it on to have a day off school. No, actually your second day because you had a day of school yesterday. Well, listeners, this is what we're going to do. While Deb is clearing her thought and swigging on a coffee, we're going to go into a quick commercial and come back, and we're going to dive into what is in Iceland and why do you want to go there.
UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good. UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good.
Happy days, we are back in, and yes, we're going to dive into now Iceland and why. So here's the thing, I was talking to one of my clients, she said, I just come back for a week in Iceland. Oh? And then I'm like, what's there to do in Iceland? And she said, well, there's loads. It's like, she said though, it was so cold that even with her skiing gear on, she still had windburn on her legs. And my first thought was, I wonder if Deb could go to Iceland then, do you know what I mean? But here's the shocking part. No, she said Iceland was beautiful. She did say so.
I'm sure it's absolutely
see all the lights and everything like that, you know.
Yeah.
And
the Northern Lights.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And there's loads of beautiful, scenery to see, and in the summer it's beautiful walks and things and that. But here's the bit that threw me. I thought, I'm going to go to Iceland. And she said, now then you want to think about this. If we doubt, they went and had fish and chips times 2 people. £40.
Right.
£40 for fish and chips.
Wow.
She said they went out for their first meal. They went out. They had a 2-course meal each and a glass of beer each. £89.
Wow.
No, sorry, I got that number wrong. £120. £120. They went out again, 2-course meal and a bottle of wine, £180.
Oh my goodness.
Now, you may pay that in London and things, but listen, I'm a Valley boy. Mm-hmm. I like an average of about £40 for both of us to go out and eat, you know what I mean? 180 quid.
Yeah, that's not... But the thing is, what people don't realise is that the wages of the people that live there accommodate those prices.
Well, perhaps they just don't eat out either.
Well, no, maybe they do. They just get more wages to accommodate
like
it.
London wages, you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
But also, she did, at the end of the day, Iceland's got to import everything in.
Exactly.
Can't grow his own, I guess.
I was going to say that as well. I mean, I don't know the economic background of Iceland, but I'm assuming that, because it's an island, it's got to do its own thing. And if it's really cold most of the year, then, they're going to have to import a lot in. And rely on tourism, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I love it, but I'm not sure I want to go and freeze my gazoolies off for a £180 meal. Do you know what I mean? I'm a tight tough. I'm like, I'm not sure about that one.
Well, you're tight until it comes to bikes.
Well, that's different.
Yes.
Actually, I don't dictate the bike price. The market does. Do you know what I mean? I just got to go with it. But also, I like to say, if you're going to do something, do it to its fullest potential. I always say that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And also, I'm thinking of ice and Iceland and stuff. I was reading the other day about crystal water.
Oh yes.
Now let me just tell you. But now, listeners, this is something I saw on the internet. Now I'm pretty skeptical about some things, and I really am. But also I'm very open-minded. Also, so it's kind of a yin and a yang. Can I put that in that way? A yin and a yang. It's kind of like that. You know what I mean? And I'm thinking, okay, so I'm reading about this crystal water. Effectively, they have these jugs and there's crystals in the bottom and they put the water in. And apparently, it makes the water live again. Because chlorinated water is dead.
Yeah.
I
didn't know that.
Yeah, apparently it's dead. Because it cleans everything out of it. So there's nothing left in it but for the liquid, if that makes sense.
Oh, wow.
But then crystal water, when it's been in the container with these crystals, just like jet crystals, not like diamonds and that, and apparently under the microscope it makes it look like snow. Yeah. So I've had a bag of crystals travelling around with me for about 15 years in a leather pouch. So I picked up crystal from different places in the world and stuff. So washed them out. Well, I didn't actually wash them out. I just put them straight into the water in the fridge and then let them wash out themselves. Do you know what I mean? But I put them in there. Now I'm drinking crystal water. And apparently, this says that by drinking it over time, it brings you back to health again. Because remember, a big chunk of us is water. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So I looked online, and you get like these drinking bottles, these big crystal things in them and stuff and what have you. I thought, well, give it a go. Yeah, but give it a go, man. So now we're a crystal water. Are you drinking the crystal water at the fridge? You are, eh? Are you sure?
Sometimes, not all the time.
What? Do you drink enough water, Deb?
No.
Nah, remember, a lot of it is water, man. If we don't, have you ever stepped in a stagnant puddle of water and smelt it? Just think about that. if we don't drink enough water, we become a stagnant puddle. We do.
That is so true. I didn't ever think of it like that.
I mean, you go out biking and you ride through a smelly puddle. It just hits you like a broken toilet. Oh, it's bad. Now, if we don't drink enough water, we become a stagnant puddle ourselves of water.
Right, I never thought about that.
And we're going to smell, inside. And that's going to turn into something. That's why I say always get enough water down you, man. It's not, you become a smelly person, skin-wise, because you don't drink enough water, because it's stagnant puddle. So we are drinking crystal water now. So all my little bags of crystals are in our water container in our fridge, and we are guzzling that. And listen, I don't know how it's going to go. Might end up I just get bigger crustaceans of sleep in my eye. Do you know what I mean? that might just be as far as it goes.
So attractive.
Everybody, do you not get sleep in your eye? Do you not get sleep in your eye?
I'm sure I do.
Oh, I love it, man. I love digging in my corner. In the morning, you dig in your corners and pull out those crusty bits. Or sometimes they're not crusty. They're just like pieces of sticky glue.
No, I don't want to know.
Sticky glue.
Oh, you had to say it.
I had to say it.
Oh, my God. Listeners, just delete all of that from your memory.
But it's a bodily thing.
I agree, and on a serious note, the water's, great, because there was somebody that did this experiment. I'm sure millions of people have done it, where they got 2 glasses of water and they put them separately, and to one they said horrible things, like they did expletives to them and said horrible, nasty things to the water, and the other one, the other glass, they would say lots of loving, caring sentences to it. And under the microscope, after a little while, they looked, and the one that had all the love and the nice attention was, like you say, crystal clear, really beautiful. The other one was like a stagnant pond.
They say water is emotions.
Yeah,
it truly is. Again, which is the biggest part of us.
Yeah.
So it's so important. And here's the thing: is that when you think about what you ask of yourself every day, whether you're a parent, you're in a career, running your own business, making sure that you are hydrated with the right quality of hydration, because bottled water is great, but bottled water is stagnant water. Effectively, it's been there a long time, and yes, it's come from spring, but it's like vegetables. When you store a vegetable, over each day, hour by hour, it loses its vitamins.
Yeah.
And it's exactly the same with bottled water. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's my opinion, mind. And we are crystal water drinkers at this moment in time. And listeners, I will let you all know how that goes on.
Yes, that would be great.
And but maybe you give me better teeth. I know. I was starting to slip all over the place there with my lips. You know what I mean? So sometimes our mouths don't move the way they should.
No.
And isn't that odd? It's like, out of all the things that get cold first, it's your lips.
It can be your lips.
But then, it is. It's one of the things that get cold first is your lips, but yet you rely on that to say things, even when you're cold.
Yeah, when you're really cold.
Yeah, man. It doesn't work, does it?
No. But do you remember going to school, like, when we were obviously kids, and it'd be biting cold, and your ears would go bright red?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
And you couldn't touch them because they were like so...
And your ears are like, just these 2 bright red beacons coming out, like... Totally freezing.
So I was talking to Sarah Rennick last week, and she is like one of these ancient practitioners in all kind of medicine and things, sort of guru. And she said your ears are connected to your kidneys.
Wow.
Look at the shape of them.
Oh yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Look at the shape of your ears. They're like your kidneys. She said your ears tell you everything about your kidneys.
That's mental.
Isn't that mental?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, look at the shape. That's so funny.
Another thing, why were we built with the nose above our lip? That's like the worst place to put a runny nose, isn't it? I mean, what was he thinking?
Yeah.
Put it under your lips so it just drips straight to the floor. When you look at your dripping nose, you think, bless, that's like the opening to their body is going to run into. And I always have a runny nose.
You do.
Well, not only when I'm cold enough, it's like, why not put the nose under the lip?
I shall tell you why. Because Neanderthal man, or whatever was before him.
Ooh.
Neanderthal man.
Did you make that up? How do you say that?
Neanderthal.
Neanderthal. Where'd you get these words, man?
So Neanderthal man is one of the first recorded men. after apes.
Well, why didn't you just say after the ape man then? For us people who don't understand what... Well, I don't understand what Neanderthal is anyway.
Right, well now you do.
Okay, I do.
If they were eating and they put something to their mouth and it smelt bad...
Well, it's just
It
a
would
change.
miss it.
Oh, listen, that's just a change of direction. Instead of going to your mouth, you would go under your chin, sniff it, and then your mouth, which makes more sense. Because the time you got it to your mouth, if you're hungry, you're wolfing in without sniffing anyway. You're just getting it in there. Have you sat and watched some of your mates eat? They don't even cut their food up.
Oh, that's
They
funny.
just grab it and wolf in and just look and think, oh, that looks okay. And in it goes and give it no sniff. We just will not have a sense of smell half the people out there. Not even a knife or fork, actually.
But we are talking now about supposedly civilization. I know. But you're laughing at that. But before that, you know, it would tell you if it was bad. But I see what you're saying. You could put it under your chin. But I think it's just that's a 2-step when you just need a 1-step.
Well, no, it's avoiding the wrong step, isn't it? It's avoiding the wrong step. It's like, you know, it's like going down the stairs and not holding on the banister, falling down and realise, I should have held on the banister. It's like filling my mouth, realising I should have sniffed first. But if you come out, if the nose is pointed the right way under your chin, you'll be forced to go round the nose to go into your mouth, won't you? So you have to go to the nose and mouth first. Now you don't have to.
I don't know. You know, I think people listening to this would be like, what are these two on?
Well, you know, all we're doing is just looking at it in a way that it just could have been, you know.
But what a palaver to have your nose at the bottom of your chin. Like,
Do you think?
what, instead of a chin, you mean?
Well, no, yeah, I suppose it'd be built in some way. I don't know. I mean, it's going to create a mess when you start kissing and stuff. Do you know what I mean? But, well, it does anyway. I know. I think noses are just. I love noses, but I think, well, you got a boot nose. I'm lucky. You got a beautiful nose. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of the right portion and everything. You was lucky with a good nose. I mean, noses. Yeah, I think.
You've got a good nose too.
Do you think?
Yeah, you got a really good nose.
Oh, he's loyal. He's been broke once or twice.
Yeah, you wouldn't know that. It's very, very sweet nose.
I mean, if you think about it, the face, again, I was talking to Sarah because she does facial readings. The face is the most exposed part of us in life in messaging who we are. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
The face is the flag of who we are every single day. It rarely gets covered up, depending on religion and things, but we're not going to go into that.
Yeah.
But it rarely gets covered up. It's something that's always seen. It's the first thing we look at. We don't go in and look, oh, what feet they got. We're not interested in the feet, the hands. The first thing we do is look at the face. Eye contact, nose contact, mouth contact.
Because it'll tell us who they are. Is that what,
Exactly.
Yeah.
On facial readings, I didn't realise that everything on your face is connected to an organ in your body.
That's true. And a lot of your bottom of your feet is connected to them as well.
Yeah, well, now I have a theory for that. I've started wearing barefoot shoes.
Yeah.
Now, these barefoots are brilliant. You've got 5 little toes in them, and they're shoes, and real thin soles, so you can feel all the ground under you. And apparently what it does is it re-energizes or reintroduces the sensitivity of under your feet back into your body.
Yeah.
It connects you back to the earth. I've been wearing these guys now for about a month. So they're called barefoot shoes. And here's the thing, what they don't tell you is you've got to have socks to go with it. Because you can't put a normal pair of socks on.
No, of course, yes.
I'm like, oh, now I've spent all the money on shoes I've got to buy. I've now got to replace my sock drawer with toe socks. But I tell you what, I started wearing them, and I'm like, wow, I much prefer these to normal shoes.
Oh, wow.
I'm just wondering if I can get a pair of really fancy going out shoes. You know, DISCO shoes in barefoot with my toes there. But they're amazing. I'm thinking, come on, barefoot, make going out shoes. Make us a pair of nightclub shoes in barefoot style, because they're just awesome. I recommend everybody go out there and get a pair.
Yeah, but the thing is, they'll get ruined in one night with all the sticky carpets.
Oh, well, just like any other shoes, man. You know, just like any other shoes. I'm thinking there must be someone that makes these. There must be. But barefoot, yeah, brilliant. So that's sort of reintroducing the bottom of my feet back to my body.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah, it is wonderful. Because you can use these, apparently, as you get used to them, they will totally, your feet will adjust and become, as it was before you started wearing shoes, like we used to all those many years ago.
As Neanderthals.
As Neanderthals. Why didn't they call the shoes Neanderthals instead of barefoot? Do you know what I mean? That makes so much more sense. It truly does. Yeah, but I'm really loving that that part of it. Reintroducing that, and then it goes. I think that as we become more, actually, I don't know why I started wanting to become more in touch with things with myself. And but I think as we do that, we become more enlightened again. And I am certainly, going through a transition right now. A transition, call it the man change if you want. Okay. But I'm definitely going through a transition. I even tried
the menopause.
Well, maybe it is. The strange thing is, I started introducing, meditation back in. But for some reason, I'm not connecting with it the same way I did connect with it, a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on there. There's something, or do I have to force it to reconnect,
I don't know. I wouldn't force it. I think that if I would go with what the flow is of you at the moment, and if it's getting connected to nature and outside and all of that, then go with that, because that's a form of meditation.
True. I would love to take 3 months out of my life right now, shoot off, and go off grid and enjoy that kind of hiking and biking and that kind of experience. I think I need to get it out of my system.
You've been saying this for a couple of years, and I think you do. And you're very luckily got a wife that would understand that.
What would you need to get it? What would you need to do to get something out your system then? What is on your bucket list?
Well, the first thing is a sunshine holiday.
And now we agreed that this morning in our home meeting. That's going to be the end of the year now. Because you're going on tour. When are you going on tour?
End of October.
So you're going on the end of October. You're going to Vienna and Boston, and then I'm going to pick up with you then somewhere out there, and then we can have a holiday from there.
Yeah.
Happy days. That's all done then. So that's in the bag. So so if you look for freedom.
Okay, so I would like to horse ride. I would like to zip line. I would like to paraglide.
You would?
Yeah.
You're like up in the air person.
Yeah.
Man, I didn't know that. Well, put it down. Let's zip line then. By the end of April, we get a zip line in.
Perfect. Okay.
And then by the end of July or August, we get a paraglide in. Horses, you only got to ask our next door neighbour. She got horses.
Yeah, but we can't just jump on a horse.
Well, I don't know. I guess that's how you would do it. You jump on a horse and she would take you for a little stroll, I guess. Or you want to go horse riding school, do you?
Now, what made you say it like that? What does that mean? So do you have some snobbery attached to it?
I don't know. Do you want to go to horse riding school with your posh hat and stuff? Is that what it is?
Well, you bought me a pair of jodhpurs.
I did. Are they not horse riding jobs? Are they really?
Yeah.
Man, okay, we're halfway there.
Yeah.
You can take my bike helmet. That'll fit. You won't need a proper helmet, will you? Well, listen, let's do this because we're going to jump into, of course, our second commercial listener. So we're going to be back to you in, of course, a sharp 90 of the white.
UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good. UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good.
Happy days, we are back in, listeners, and thank you, of course, for staying with us to this last quarter of the show.
I'd like to go to the bucket list again, because somebody told me about this. I know this is for older people, but I like this.
What is an older person to you?
Pardon?
What is an older person to you?
I don't know. I mean, I didn't really go with that kind of thing. But what I was just trying to say was, there's this thing out there where you have to do 60 things before you're 60.
Oh, wow.
So it's all different things, like, whatever it is you want to do, you have to do 60 things before you're 60. And I like that idea, because what it means is you're making the most of your time here, especially people out there that are running businesses and got busy lives and all this kind of thing. It's like when you sit in your chair when you're 80 and you're just there going, oh, okay. So that was all that, right?
Yeah.
But if you say, right, I'm going to do, because I'm 51, right? So if I say I'm going to do 60 meaningful, good things that I want to do before 60, then when you get to 60, you've done all of that. You're like, okay, you know, now you've got it in the bag that you're actually living, because we don't actually live half the time.
Mm-hmm.
We're not living. We're existing in a busyness, you know, which is the business, busyness, the house, the kids, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's all busyness. And actually, we're not living. A lot of the time, we're not living.
Human doing instead of human being, girl.
Exactly. You know, and even though 60 things before 60 can be seen as doing, but at least they're meaningful experiences. You know, like the zip lining, the paragliding that I want to do. I want to go up in a balloon. I want to, you know what I mean? Just different stuff like that. Maybe jump out of a plane.
Oh, I'm not for that.
No, I know.
My mate broke his leg doing that. That's not my
Did
thing.
he?
Yeah, that's not my thing at all.
You didn't have to tell me that.
I won't go there. But, you know, what if we did that every year? From the young age of 12 things before you're 12, 14
Right.
things. I mean, actually, we get more energized as we get older because the list gets longer.
And look at the experiences that you would have.
Yeah.
Look at everything that you've got under your belt. You've done everything that your age group, if you like, wants to do as you're going.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's what life's about, surely.
I love that idea. You know, I wish I had that when I went, because I went into a school this week and given our lecture to 16-year-olds.
Yeah.
Oh man, it was like a day. It was like going to a funeral.
Oh, bless.
It was hard. I mean, I've done a lot of school events. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But at the back of the class, there was the row of the lads.
Oh, dear.
The row of the lads, and right almost in the middle was, of course, the ringleader.
Yeah.
The ringleader, the biggest boy of all, who was yawning and stretching and blowing at me and all this kinds of stuff and sighing right at me and everything. I found it quite intimidating, because I tell you what, going back on last week's show where we didn't know we still had triggers on things.
Yeah.
It took me right back to the days I was bullied in school. And that feeling, it was really hard for me to manage that feeling, because I felt he was intimidating. I felt he was bullying. You know?
So he was bullying the atmosphere.
Yeah, absolutely. It was like that.
But then I would say, you know, what is making him do that?
Oh,
Probably
yeah.
because the subject matter you were talking about, he didn't feel good enough for.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you know, I'm certainly mature enough to know why he is. Why, bless him, you know, he has to be as disruptive as what he is or was, and it was very cleverly done, you know. But you know, those things happen. But yeah, I had one of those highlighting realizations, insights of, wow, I've still got the bully trigger in me when I was bullied in school, you know.
Yeah.
And I suppose you think about it, I've never really worked with that. I just archived it.
See, and that is why things come up like that. It's on purpose.
So going back to, you know, not to touch too much on it because we did it last week, that now I've realised that, is that done now then? Or have I still got to somehow
So
work it
depending,
through?
how did you manage it?
Well, I managed it by managing the class, sticking with it, keeping a flow there, introducing him into a conversation and not letting him intimidate it, you know, things like that.
That's good. Yeah, that's probably put a lot of that to bed.
And I think the secret to anybody that feels that they were bullied is to really, you know, approach that environment, be in that environment, and know that it can't affect you anymore. It can't do that, especially in business. Business is rife with intimidation. Isn't that crazy? The business world is full of intimidation.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because, you know, ultimately, if we believe, which I do, that we are conditioned in by the time we're 7 to 10, and we're all running around adult children, nothing's changed. We're doing adulty stuff, but our 7-year-olds are running the show. So the bullies in school will come out and be the same in, you know what I mean? It's like whenever you get a group of people together, you're going to get the same dynamics as you would at school. You're going to get the shy ones. You're going to get the extroverted ones. You're going to get the funny clown. You're going to get the, you know, all these childhood roles are all going to be bitchiness still because not many people work through their stuff. So it doesn't matter where you get, there's bitchiness and all sorts of stuff, you know. So yeah.
Wow, yeah, that's just, you know, that's a big one. When you think about, you know, in your business world, who do you find intimidating? I will say that, you know, coming out of COVID, I've seen that there's a big change in, you know, the well-being within business, a big change in the care factor. You know, I'm part of the authentic networking, and you know, these guys, their networking is very different to anything I've ever done before.
Yeah.
You know, I'm also part of Zocket Networking, and Zocket, again, is like a family. It's a real powerful get-together kind of networking event. So I am seeing changes. I am seeing, you know, how the business world is becoming more open to experiencing not a sale, but a get to know each other.
Yeah.
You know, that is certainly happening.
And that's it. You know, when you think about it, the amount of businesses that are out there today and the amount of businesses that were out there when we were a kid, it's obviously trebled or quadrupled because so many more people are running their own business these days. You know, so we have to get to know them more before now.
Well, that's the thing. And I think, you know, actually I didn't follow the last piece you said then. You said you get to know them before now. I don't quite get that.
Okay, so, you know, today we talk about know, like, and trust the person.
Yeah.
Okay. Back in business years ago, you didn't need to have that.
Well, you didn't. You didn't care.
Right, and you just, if you bought from them, you bought from them. You know what I mean? Unless you're talking big but top business, that's different. But, you know, your average, you know, but everybody that had their own little business, like a butcher and, you know, whatever, you just stayed there and did that.
Yeah.
And whatever happened. So there was not any of that. But now, because so many people are doing it, and so many people are in the people business, aren't they?
Yeah.
You know, and the services.
Yeah.
But going back to what we said about, you know, when you are...
It'll come.
Yeah.
You lost it?
No.
Go on then.
You're talking about triggers and you're going back into the school and everything. I call it negative growth.
Oh, really?
Because what it is if you've got all of these triggers in there, like we were saying last week, that if you've got all those triggers in there, then what will happen is naturally, by energy, like attracts like, you're going to get that energy in.
Oh, I see.
And when you disperse of that energy, you don't get that. So things are going to come up in your life, and what they're coming up to do is give you an opportunity to get rid of it.
Oh, wow. So that you think that's all it was for me?
Yeah, it's an opportunity for you to get rid of it. Anything horrible in life, anything, apart from somebody passing away, that's a bit different. But anything horrible in life is an opportunity. It's negative growth. It's a negative that's giving you growth if you choose it.
Fantastic. Do you know what? This has been such a great deep dive again, Deb. I've enjoyed everything we talk about, and hopefully, listeners, for yourselves, you get some golden nugget out of what it is we chinwag about every week. We've got a great guest coming on next week, Mike Deacon. He's a fantastic chap, so tune in when I interview himself, plus a ton of others coming through the next couple of weeks there. Guests, if you agree to come on the show, be there, man. Do you know what I mean? Happy days. I love you all. Thank you for being there. Until this time next week, my listeners, you have an amazing, beautiful, all that you are weekend. Bye for now, and boom!
Emotions are